What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Monday, March 21st. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay, guys, we have a 9-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. So Luka Doncic is in a good spot. He's one of the most expensive studs on the slate, but he's 12,000 DraftKings salary, but he has 1,400 less on FanDuel. So I like that FanDuel price. But Luka Doncic, he's got that 70+ fantasy point upside, and he's just in a good spot here because he's not on a back-to-back. Unlike most of the other studs on this slate who are on back-to-backs. So if you got the extra salary in your lineup, especially on FanDuel, definitely like Luka Doncic. Vegas thinks there's going to be 230 points scored in this game, so it's a high-scoring game here versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I like Luka Doncic here versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. But now if you want to save a little bit of salary in your lineup, another stud that I like is Terry Rozier from the Charlotte Hornets playing the New Orleans Pelicans, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing point guards. Terry Rozier has averaged 36.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. I think he can score 40 fantasy points or more here tonight, get you 5 times value or more. He's 8,200 DraftKings salary. He's 500 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 234 points scored in this game, so another high-scoring game. And Terry Rozier has scored 38, 31, and 49 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 29, 35, and 32 minutes. So I like Terry Rozier, who scored 47 and 59 fantasy points in his last 2 games versus the Pelicans, here versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. And if you're looking for a value play here tonight, this would be a DraftKings value play. He is on a back-to-back, but he should still get plenty of minutes here tonight. Take a look at Chris Dunn from the Portland Trailblazers playing the Detroit Pistons, who have the 8th worst defense overall, give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Chris Dunn has averaged 24.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He's projected at 24.2 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 6.4 times value. He's only 3,800 DraftKings salary, even though he is 1,100 more on FanDuel. I love that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 223 points scored in this game, and Chris Dunn has scored 31, 25, and 26 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 23, 25, and 27 minutes. So unless something silly goes on with this back-to-back and he doesn't play, many minutes, say he only gets 15 minutes, then that's no good. But if he can get 20+ minutes in this game, it's a fantastic matchup and he looks to be on track to score 25 plus fantasy points and crush value on DraftKings. So I like Chris Dunn here versus the Detroit Pistons. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like Spencer Dinwiddie from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing shooting guards. Spencer Dinwiddie has averaged 29.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 31.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 6,500 DraftKings salary. He's 400 less on FanDuel. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 230 points scored in this game, and Spencer Dinwiddie has scored 33 and 38 fantasy points in his last 2 games, playing 35 and 33 minutes. So I like Spencer Dinwiddie here versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. So I got a value play for you here. His fantasy point production has not been off the charts, but he has been playing monster minutes lately. So for his price tag and the matchup, I just think he's in a good spot here tonight for a value play. Take a look at Isaac Okoro from the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the LA Lakers, who have the 4th worst defense overall. They give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Isaac Okoro has averaged 18.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 13% usage rate. He's projected at 20.3 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 23 fantasy points or more in this one, get you 5 times value or more. He's 4,300 DraftKings salary, 200 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 223.5 points scored in this game, and Isaac Okoro has scored 18, 17, and 26 fantasy points in the last 3 games. But what I like about this pick is it's a great matchup, and Isaac Okoro has played 32, 37, and 41 minutes in the last 3 games. So I like Isaac Okoro as a value play here versus the LA Lakers. And another value play that you could take a look at here, who's in a good matchup, only 100 more on DraftKings, although he is 900 more on FanDuel. So this would be a DraftKings play for me. Definitely would play Isaac Okoro on FanDuel. But for a DraftKings value play, take a look at Denny Avdija from the Washington Wizards playing the Houston Rockets, who have the worst defense overall, give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Denny Avdija has averaged 19.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 23 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. Now, he's projected at about 20 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 25 fantasy points or more in this matchup, get you over 5 times value on DraftKings, where he's 4,400 DraftKings salary. And Denny Avdija has scored 32, 9, and 32 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 31, 24, and 28 minutes. So I think he makes it for an interesting value play in this high-scoring game, where Vegas thinks there's going to be 234.5 points scored in this game, in a great matchup where he might get 30-plus minutes at a low price tag on DraftKings. So I like Denny Avdija as a value play on DraftKings here versus the Houston Rockets. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. Where's my power forward? Oh, I got another value play for you here. Take a look at Taurean Prince from the Minnesota Timberwolves playing the Dallas Mavericks, who have a good defense overall. Been middle of the pack defending opposing power forwards. Now, his minutes per game and his season average are a little bit scary here. Only 13.7 fantasy points per game, averaging 16 minutes per game. But those numbers have come up quite a bit the past few games. But there's still a lot of risk here, because if he does only play 15, 16 minutes, it's going to be in a tough spot. But I think he can get 20 plus minutes in this game, and he is projected at 16 fantasy points, but I think he can score 22 plus fantasy points in this game. He has scored 31, 24, and 27 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 16, 25, and 27 minutes. He's 4,200 DraftKings salary, 700 more on FanDuel. So this would be a DraftKings play for me. Just rolling the dice here, hoping that he can get 25 plus minutes. And in those minutes, I think he would easily be able to score 25 plus fantasy points and get you over 5 times value on DraftKings. So I like Taurean Prince on DraftKings as a value play here versus the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Kevin Love from the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the LA Lakers, who have the 4th worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing centers, also eligible at the power forward position. Kevin Love has averaged 28 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 22 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He's projected at 29.6 fantasy points here tonight, which is 4.8 times value. He's 6,200 DraftKings salary, but he's 700 less on FanDuel, so I love that FanDuel price. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 223.5 points scored in this game, and Kevin Love has scored 34, 32, and 21 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 24, 30, and 17 minutes. So I think he can get 24 plus minutes in this game and get you over 30 fantasy points, which would be 5 times value on DraftKings, and he would crush value on FanDuel. And I just like that he's one of the few center players that's got 30 plus upside, 30 plus fantasy point upside that's not on a back-to-back. Like, I would like Robert Williams here from the Boston Celtics versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's on a back-to-back. I would like Rudy Gobert. He's on a back-to-back. Christian Wood, Jonas Valanciunas, Pascal Siakam, Joel Embiid. All of those guys on back-to-backs. And then you got Karl Anthony Towns, who's dealing with an arm issue. So a lot of uncertainty here at the center position. That's why I think I'm just going to save the salary at this position, especially on FanDuel. Love this play on FanDuel. So I like Kevin Love here versus the LA Lakers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com.
You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.